They say the past is something you can leave behind. But I've learned that the past has claws, and sometimes it waits for the perfect moment to tear through everything you've built. My name is Layla, and this is the story of how I fell in love with the man I was paid to please. How I went from being his secret to becoming his shame. Then, somehow, his forever. It started in Kuala Lumpur. I was 23, smart, broke, smiling through exhaustion. By day, I studied economics. By night, I worked behind a hotel bar, watching couples sip champagne while I counted tips that couldn't even cover rent. I didn't want a mansion, but I wanted freedom. To breathe, to rest, to stop living in survival mode. That's when I heard about the site, a sugar dating app. Glossy, elegant, not sleazy, not at first glance. They called it mutually beneficial companionship. It felt clinical, cold, safe. I told myself, I'm not selling myself. I'm selling time, energy, conversation. The profile took a week to write. I chose the right pictures, one red dress, a whole week's salary. I clicked submit with trembling fingers. And then came Julian.
He didn't message me with pickup lines. He sent me a meeting time, a restaurant location, and simply, if you're interested, wear the red. At first I was insulted, but I showed up anyway, curious. He was already seated, gray suit, gold-rimmed watch, eyes like quiet oceans, deep, still, unreadable. He didn't flirt. He asked about my major, my goals, my boundaries. We agreed on terms. Dinner twice a week, one weekend a month, discretion. No questions about personal lives. No sleeping over. No strings. It worked. And it worked beautifully. He transferred my allowance without delay. I never asked. He never negotiated. It was enough to pay rent, eat properly, and even buy the perfume I'd been smelling on others for years. But what I didn't expect was how gently he blurred the rules.
He started asking about my classes, sent me notes on job interviews. When I mentioned I was struggling in finance, he introduced me to a woman who tutored me and never told me he was the one paying her. There were moments, small ones, like when he brushed a strand of hair behind my ear and didn't pull away, or when he laughed, not at a joke, but at something only I would have noticed. He became safe, and that terrified me, because safety is the first step to attachment. I almost ended it, but then came the accident. I remember flashes, screams, twisted metal, the sound of my own breath caught in my throat as the car spun. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. I woke up in a hospital with a tube in my arm and pain that felt stitched into my bones. I expected silence. I expected that this was the end of our arrangement. No sugar daddy wants a liability. But instead, Julian was sitting at my bedside every single day. He fed me soup I couldn't hold, helped me to the bathroom when I was too embarrassed to call the nurse, held my hand during physiotherapy even when I sobbed into his shirt. He whispered to my scars, "You're beautiful. You always were." One night, when I couldn't sleep, he climbed into the hospital bed beside me. I didn't say anything. He didn't touch me, just held me. That was the first night I didn't cry myself to sleep. After I was discharged, I moved in with him. No discussion, No transaction. Just his hand reaching for mine and a toothbrush beside his in the bathroom. Love didn't arrive loudly. It was in the way he refilled my pain meds before I noticed they were low, and how he learned how to cook congee the way my mother used to. We never said I love you. Not at first. But one night, as rain tapped on our bedroom window, he whispered, "I don't want to be your arrangement anymore. I want to be your beginning." 3 years later, he proposed. On our balcony, 2 mugs of tea, no diamonds. Just eyes that never stopped watching me heal. But the past doesn't die quietly. It came crashing back through his sister, Melissa, always polished, always cold. She found my old sugar dating profile, my photos, the ones I thought were buried beneath algorithms and time. The flirty captions, the link to a dead Instagram account. She didn't come to us, she went to everyone. She mass messaged screenshots to his family, our friends, my classmates, even my estranged relatives. The reaction? Vicious. "She's a gold digger. She used you. She sold herself. She'll leave when the money dries up." My mother called me crying, but not because she was worried, because I'd shamed the family. My father hasn't spoken to me since. Julian's family demanded he end the engagement. His brother told him he'd ruin their name. Melissa told me to go back to where I came from. But Julian stood beside me. He deleted the family group chat, cut off the accounts, skipped the dinners, and when they called to guilt him, he simply said, "I didn't fall in love with who she was. I love who she is." We left everything behind and moved to Johor Bahru. Small house, tiny porch, plastic chairs from the hardware store, a broken fence, a stray cat that kept coming back. It wasn't glamorous. But every night, we'd sit with 2 mugs of teh tarik, and before going in, he'd ask, "We're okay, right?" And I'd always say, "Because we have each other." The pain didn't vanish. His parents now talk to him, barely. Mine act like I never existed. Sometimes I wonder what I'd say if I saw them again. But then I remember. When I was hospitalized, Julian paid for everything, even the bills that my family couldn't afford. They accepted the help, then turned their backs when they discovered the source. Still, I don't regret anything because I didn't just survive. I chose love, real love, the kind that knows your darkness and doesn't look away. So if you're walking a path like mine, one full of shame, secrecy, and sugar-coated lies, here's my advice. Before love becomes real, before it becomes something worth fighting for, delete the old accounts, burn the past, or it might just burn you. Because when love is real, it doesn't need proof. It just needs the courage to stay. If this story touched your heart, share it. Subscribe and follow for the next Twisted Love Tale, because some love stories aren't perfect, but they're real.